How many acres does she have?
Her property is 4-5 acres.
How much do you have in the garden?
Probably 1/4 of an acre on a hillside behind the store.
After the church garden, Tori took me to our last stop, a permaculture project he was partnering in.
I am standing in Locklear's Farm Supply outside of Columbia, South Carolina, and this is Sammy, the proprietor, and she's a friend of Tori's, and when she met Tori, they got to talking, she came over to see Tori's permaculture garden, and she said, I want one too. So we're going to check out the permaculture garden in development behind the store, right?
That sounds great.
Let's get to it.
My dad started this back in 1977, and my mom came along and helped when she wasn't working, and my sisters, I've got 3 siblings, and we all came out and helped when we were children. And so we've always been kind of like a family affair. And the other interesting, wonderful thing about it is my nephew, who is 27 years old now, he went to college, got a great job, but he comes out every Saturday and helps with the garden.
I see that you're really in shape. And I love seeing that in the South because not that many people are out running on the highways. It's so hot. But this morning you were out jogging, right?
Yes, ma'am. I love to eat, so I'm going to be running 6 miles at least 3 days a week. And the garden is lots of exercise. I mean, I know that Tori and Alex could both tell you we've been out here shoveling and doing a lot of manual labor. We had a little bit of tractor work done, but most of it was manual labor.
Well, did your father have a garden growing up?
He did. He did typical monoculture, just like everybody in the South did. And as children, we would go out and pick butter beans and then weigh them and take them to the farmer's market.
So what compelled you when you saw Tori's place to want to do something different?
It was fascinating. It was cool. It was just different. And Alex and I talked about doing a food forest, and we just couldn't figure out what we were going to do. And when Tori came along and showed me what he had, I'm like, I want to make this on a grander level. The only thing I'll be honest with you about, it has been a lot more work than I anticipated. But it's, you know, we're seeing the fruits of our work, so it's wonderful. This was mainly my little part of the garden. This is that Tori and Alex kind of added on to me, because the first of it was the 5 swales, and then I said, well, I want to be able to plant my tomato plants and different things, and so they kind of added me on. As you can see, I haven't harvested these yet because I was waiting for you to see. Then I have tomatoes planted here, but I also love to put marigolds out.
Well, even with that huge rainstorm yesterday, it looks like they're thirsty. It's just this heat, right?
It's just the heat, and then it evaporates so quickly.
Wow.
Usually when we have like 2 or 3 hours of rain, we'll come out here like the next day and there'll still be water in the swales. But this was like a quick, maybe 45-minute rain.
And it just ran off.
It ran off.
Yes, the weeds do drive you insane.
Can you fill up all those containers off that roof?
That's our plan.
That's the hope.
Okay.
Here's that certified SC grown stamp I'm trying to
Promote?
telling you, yeah.
I'm just going to be nosy. How did you go from being an actress to getting into filmmaking and web making?
Yeah, well, a lot of it had to do with the industry and the technical advances with digital cameras and stuff. I had an epiphany in 2012 that I wanted to share my experience of learning to grow food with whoever would listen.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you get your hands in the dirt, just like Lou was saying, you get your hands in the dirt, you are a changed person.
When we first did the first swale, Tori came in and he said, okay, we're going to plant this, 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 and this, like radish and carrots and this and that. And so I got him all the seed, and he put it in a bucket and mixed it all together. I almost had a stroke. I was like, what are you doing? And that's how we started it. And so I think that was the biggest difference for me, is to do it totally different than I'd ever done.
What did you scatter it, or what did you do?
Yeah, as we dug these swales and flipped them over, we reseeded them with this mixed seed to get us a polyculture of annual vegetables. It made it easy to understand on a small scale before we did it on a bigger scale.
it's really the heat of the summer. We
Yes.
are in the middle of July, and it is sweltering. And do you have any brassicas or what I would consider cool season vegetables out here?
You can see a couple brassicas out here still kicking it that haven't been bug eaten.
Do you envision having a lot of tall things like your mulberry tree and your elderberry and things that you have that are more of a top canopy?
Yep.
Your pawpaw?
Yep, they're all represented here. We have all those things here.
Wow.
So right now these trees that you see are planted back in March. So it looks like a couple sticks in the ground, but in the next couple years it'll pretty much look like my place, a food forest.
Basically you build a mound and then you have a trench, and you either collect rainwater in the trench or you flood the trench.
Yep.
And it all soaks down, and whatever grows, grows.
Basically.
Right?
Yep.
And you don't sweat the small stuff.
No.
If something doesn't work,
Adapt and change.
something else will.
Yep.
Right?
Here we respect tree spacing. We give them 10, 15, 20 feet in between each tree.
Okay.
And he came up and said, I want to do this. And I said, well, we have to have a plan.
Right.
And this was, what was it, last
July. It was probably about a year exactly
July.
ago.
I mean, because we started it then. We started late.
Yeah.
But to tell you how well it worked, by that September and October, we were harvesting lots of string beans. I mean, and which was unreal.
We have 6 containers here. They're going to provide water for the garden. There are 6 containers on the other side, so we'll have a total of 12. They're going to contain the runoff water from the shed right here. There's going to be a PVC line connects all 12 together, and so once they're all connected together, they should provide enough pressure to supply water for gardening for when we need water. You know, like dry moment, but we've had so much rain right now, so we wouldn't even need it. So,
Right.
But all this is going to work for, you know, natural water, non-chlorinated.
Well, how has this project changed your life? Or has it?
It's made me have a more open mind and embrace new ideas, because I was, you know, indoctrinated by my father and by everything we've ever done in the South with monoculture. And one thing that you said earlier about only planting stuff that you could eat, that's how most of the farmers are out here. They only plant things that they can eat.
Well, you have such a great place here, and like you said, you have this shed, so you can have talks here, you can educate people, you can inspire more people.
I love to have children out. We have several schools in this area, and I've gone out and done plant diversity classes, and I do take them plants, because even the smallest children, the 4 and 5-year-old kindergarten children, they do a garden for them in this area. So the school district is really doing well.
And you've got all of these water storage containers. They're not hooked up yet, but they will be.
We've been blessed this summer with lots of rain.
Wow. Yes, yesterday.
I insisted on growing pecans, even though I don't think Tori was hep on my pecans, but I said, you know, this is a long-term project. You know, I might not ever get a pecan from that tree, but this is for my nephew and hopefully his children, and it's just a long-term investment in the property.
Right. Right, and at some point when it's not so hot up here, you can just come up here and enjoy looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
We're setting it up, part of it, as a you pick, you pull operation, where people can come, pick, pull, pay for a basket, and get their produce out here. There's lots of other plans in the future. We're going to get this arbored trellis system up the pathway with grapes and hardy kiwi growing up it. There is a big section of this food forest that's just nuts. It's a mixed nut and fruit tree planting.
We also want to have some muscadines, because my dad grew a lot of muscadines over at his place, and need to get over there and get some cuttings so we can just carry on that tradition. Fred. The duck has a mate that I think she's sitting on a nest. I name everything, Kaye. Everything gets a name. The ducks, the chickens, everything.
There's mixed fruit and nuts up here. Pecans, almonds, chestnut.
Right now the weeds drive me crazy, but as we keep mulching and the trees get bigger and we do more ground cover, it's just going to be beautiful.
A couple different varieties of mulberry are out here. loquat. Not quite as stuffy as my place. I mean, the trees really have space to branch out when they're ready. So Sammy's customers see the garden and they're interested in doing the same thing. So of course word gets around, and
so he goes and does the consult with them.
there's cucumber and green bean mix.
Oh, this when
That's
I'm
a green bean.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
I have not planted cucumbers and green beans together.
Sea berry. Very gingerly coming back to life after some transplant shock. That's wiregrass.
And I heard wiregrass is really bad and invasive, so you try to pull that out.
I don't really try to do anything. I let it go, and my goal is to overgrow the weeds. So where there's an abundant amount of food, there's really no weeds.
You might have a little cabbage in there you might want to eat.
Yep, that's probably getting ready.
I think it's called an Inca
Okay.
marigold. They're the ones that are a little bit bigger.
With the green beans climbing up it, squash. It's like a traditional Three Sisters setup going on. Self-seeded brassicas. Next spring it'll be good 8-10 feet tall.
These look so healthy. How many did you plant?
We got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 5, and there's a couple more blackberries. And we got them, you know, kind of set up along the pathway here so that people can come by and get that you pick, you pull thing going on. Of course, we need about 100 more going all the way down this swale here, this ditch. But so tip layering is when you take your blackberry and you just do that. You layer the tip into the ground. Clear back your mulch layer, get dug in there somewhat, and you just stick the tip of your blackberry into the ground and cover it up. And the hope is that that tip will root and then put out more blackberry canes by next spring.
Oh, wow. Is that homemade? That tastes so good.
It's not homemade, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. I don't care.
Yeah, as long as it's wet.
It's got a lot of ice in it.
Okay. Someone brought these puppies in and they were covered with fleas, and she wanted them to be dewormed and to buy some dewormer for them. And they were just so infested. We have decided to keep them until they get healthy, and then we're going to find good homes for them.
They look like they get along.
Yeah, they do.
Hey. You like my sweat? You like my sweat?
I got my degree from the University of South Carolina in physical education, and I'm certified to teach science and biology. And I'm pretty sure that's why I really want to make this an educational experience rather than like a money-making experience, because we want to share with the kids how to grow food and where's your food coming from. My name is Sammy Locklear. We're in Gaston, South Carolina. We're at Locklear Farm Supplies. This has been my family's business for 40 years. We appreciate you coming out today, and we want to leave you with a little bit of South Carolina. Got a local company, and she uses everything is local. This is called Just Want to Melt. It's a lotion bar. You just kind of hold it in your hand and it melts with your body heat. Also have a lip balm. I use it every night. We also have the Just Want to Melt soap. This is a lemongrass and tea tree.
Nice.
And we also have a shower scrub bar. It's got a little bit of exfoliation in it, and it leaves you feeling great. This is just a little taste of South Carolina to take home with you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean, I do just want to melt.
I know.
I am melting.
I know we're melting in the heat. Many people don't know this, but when there is a fire, the pets sometimes die not from the actual fire, but from asphyxiation. So a few years ago, we got together and raised money for all the fire stations in Lexington County to have a small mask for cats and small dogs, and then a neck size up for the larger dogs, So that way, if they are asphyxiated, they can get the oxygen back in them very quickly. I know of at least 2 fires where the masks were used and the pets were saved.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that story.
Thank you.
All right.